Mike, what did you see out of Mitch tonight?
I thought he got better as the game went on. Obviously, wasn't the type of start we needed.
Mike, at any point did you consider putting Mason in the game?
I didn't. Because this is what we do. This is who we are.
Yeah, unfortunately, Coach Tomlin might be right there. This is what the Steelers do, and this is who they are. Welcome back to another film breakdown. I'm Daniel, the State of the Steelers. Today, we're going to be breaking down another embarrassing loss by the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going to look at Mitch Trubisky on weighty downs and how he performed in this game. We're going to be looking at a lot of the third downs and one of the fourth downs that ended up sealing the loss for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. So this first play that I want to bring up is a crossing play that's going to be happening in front of Mitch Trubisky here. The whole purpose of these two routes right here that are crossing in front of each other are so that these receivers can rub or pick one of the defensive backs that are trailing the other receivers. And if it doesn't work out, you have George Pickens' route in red over top of it. Now, this play ends up getting called back for a penalty, and it was a right penalty and a right call to be made. But let's look at the decision to throw it there. Let's look at the placement of the ball and what happened underneath that made Trubisky go to that next step. Check it out right there in the middle of the screen. You have these two guys basically run into each other. And then over the top, Mitch Trubisky is throwing the ball right here. The pass interference penalty is happening right around this time, maybe just already have happened. Basically at the top of the route, the defensive back held on to Pickens. However, even if he didn't, this would be a severely behind thrown ball and probably an interception. You got a better view of it from the other side. And that was on third play. This play here is also going to be on third down. And what you end up having here is Mitch Trubisky just staring down one receiver. Deontay Johnson in green is going to come open, but he's staring down the middle of the field. He panics a little bit and just kind of runs. I mean, sort of looks like what we've seen from Kenny Pickett. So I'm starting to wonder, is this maybe what they're being taught? Is this the progression that they're being taught to go through on these plays? Matt Canada's not here anymore. Maybe this was a quarterback coaching situation. As you can see, Mitch Trubisky is just eyeing Pat Freiermuth, who is pretty much double covered at this point. The other two receivers have an opportunity, if you throw the ball up, for them to make something happen, especially Deontay Johnson, who's going to come wide open underneath. And again, this is third down, and there's enough space there for Deontay Johnson. If he catches this ball and runs forward, now that's a big question, right? He could go backwards. But if he catches this ball and goes forward, he could end up getting a first down. Let me rewind that a little bit. So at this point, he's deciding to run. And he throws it to Deontay Johnson here between the 30 and the 40, about the 35-yard line. I mean, it's going to be close. You also have Calvin Austin over the top there coming open as well. So you have two receivers in that direction. The one receiver that's on that side that is definitely covered is Pat Freiermuth, and that's the receiver that Mitch Trubisky was eyeing the most. He takes it down, tries to get as many yards as he can. Ends up working out for 3 points for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, this is the actual interception that ended up counting against the Pittsburgh Steelers. In my opinion, it's not a bad read. It's just a late throw, a hesitation by Mitch Trubisky, and a bad throw, inaccurate throw as well. As you can see, the defense is dropping back in zone. Right here is where Pat Freiermuth is open. And this is where the ball has to primarily kind of go. The issue is that Mitch Trubisky is going to throw the ball late and way further inside, giving an opportunity for the safety to intercept the ball. You'll see it better from the other side. And he's just eyeing the receiver the entire time. I want to rewind it so we can see the full play from the top. It just kind of looked like Pat Freiermuth was trying to sit in the zone there. He read it right. I don't think Mitch Trubisky read or understood what Pat Freiermuth was trying to do. Could be a timing thing, a chemistry thing. the more that these two guys work together, maybe perhaps they'll be able to get something going there. On this play here, this is a play that also should have been intercepted. Mitch Trubisky was staring down one receiver majority of the game, and the defense for the New England Patriots were playing in a zone defense so that their eyes were back at the quarterback, which gave them a lot of opportunities to take the ball away. Fortunately for the Pittsburgh Steelers, it only resulted in one, or unfortunately, but it could have been a lot worse. And in this scenario, this is another example of that, where you're going to have Diontae Johnson just go up and out. This is a route that they run quite a bit, and often it's one of Kenny Pickett's favorites. You're going to see immediately that Mitch Trubisky is just going to be eyeing Diontae Johnson, and the defensive back covering Diontae Johnson is going to see that, and he's going to watch Trubisky and watch his eyes. Mitch Trubisky is just very fortunate that this doesn't end up in an interception or a pick six if he keeps his balance. I will say this about what I'm seeing with Diontae Johnson in particular. I wonder if he's still being hampered by the injury that sidelined him the first part of the season, because the separation just hasn't been there since his return. Maybe the team's defeated and he's just running some lazy routes, but it hasn't been as crisp. He hasn't been as explosive, as the burst ain't there to get away. And there's not that much separation between him and the defensive back as there was beforehand. So just something to note. Let's see if that is something that gets better with him over time. Then that just tells me that it's just part of the injury and him still healing from that. Something to keep an eye on. Now, on this play, this is just insane. I've never seen something like this, where you have a screenplay to the running back who is coming out of the backfield, and you have a safety who's lined up in a traditional safety set 12 yards off the line of scrimmage, who almost makes an interception. That just says that the execution of this play is extremely poor. This is something that I've seen multiple times when it comes to the screen game with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And in this situation, another issue pops up. And last time that we talked about the screen game, it was against the Cleveland Browns. And I was pointing out how there was a play where Jaylen Warren got out in front, or in between his blockers. He was in front of the center. I'd never seen a screenplay designed that way, so I assumed that it was a busted play or wasn't done correctly. It doesn't make sense to have your blockers behind you. Well, in this scenario here, it's to the opposite side, but it's the exact same thing. So I don't know if maybe it is designed this way. If it is, this is horribly designed. And as you can see, number 23 there for the New England Patriots almost comes up with the ball. It's insane. Watch that one more time. Keep your eye right here on the safety. Just gets there before Jaylen Warren. It's just so slow. Keep your eye on Jaylen Warren here, number 30 there. He's in front right here. He's in front of both of his blockers. This is poor execution. I was being sarcastic in the last video when I said, is it designed this way? I'm like only 50% sarcastic asking that question yet again. It doesn't make any sense. It's horrible design. And if the players can't execute and the execution is this poor, then the play shouldn't be called. Also, what's with the low snaps, man? Mason Cole, look at that. Look at how far down that Mitch Trubisky has to go to reach the ball. And this isn't just this game. It was last game. And the fan base has been calling for a new center there. Maybe perhaps Nate Herbig to come in there and let's see what he can do. Not just because of the snapping issues, but also some of the blocking issues that have been going on with Mason Cole up to this point. It makes me wonder, what we saw last year, was that really an improved center, a starting quality center, or was that just a mirage or an illusion because we, the fan base, have been used to seeing Kendrick Green for a whole year? He made Mason Cole look like Dermonte Dawson. Whatever it is, I feel like after this season, the Pittsburgh Steelers need to find another solution at the center position. But check it out. Number 23 at the snap of the ball is about 12 to 13 yards off the line of scrimmage. And he's able to somehow get there, almost make an interception. On this play here, there's another example where Mitch Trubisky just kind of panics. In my opinion, I think George Pickens is going to come pretty wide open right in front of him. The linebackers are playing in a zone. They're watching Mitch Trubisky. They're prepared for him to run. And you have George Pickens running right behind him on a crossing route. My opinion, should have been the first read. So you have Mitch Trubisky just kind of eyeing Diontae Johnson at the bottom of the route. But as you can see, Diontae Johnson's going to do a little curl out and come back. And the cornerback that's on him, there's No separation there. He's in great position. If this ball is thrown there, it's a good chance it could be intercepted. Now, if you look at the middle of the field where George Pickens is running to, he's running to an open part of the field. Now, he's not open yet, but a good quarterback, an average quarterback, can throw the ball out in front of him to throw him open. Look at the linebackers there in the middle of the field. Look at the direction that they're facing. They're flat-footed. They're squared, facing forward, squared towards the end zone that they're facing. That is not a great position if you're covering a running wide receiver behind him. And these are all on third down, except for the screenplay. That was on the second down. This is the most weightiest down of the game. Mitch Trubisky panics. He feels a little bit of pressure from the right side. Dan Moore actually ends up doing all right. But Mitch Trubisky feels it, turns around, runs out, and gets out of there. Now, this is going to be on the last drive. This is third down. These are the last two plays of this drive. Game's on the line. The Steelers have to get at least a first down if they want to at least push for a possibility for a field goal to tie the game, if not to go in there for the go-ahead winning touchdown score. And at this point, it's 3rd and 2. And the routes that the receivers are running, you're going to have George Pickens and Deontay Johnson cross in front of each other. George is going to go up a little bit more up the field and then come back around. And Deontay Johnson is basically going to run up and out towards the line to gain. And he comes open. George Pickens ends up attracting 2-3 people with him. And Deontay Johnson is wide open right there. That's a first down. Instead, Mr. Trubisky throws the ball to George Pickens, and even though I think that the other throw would have been a better decision, there was a throw here to be made to George Pickens, and Mr. Trubisky just inaccurately throw it. Look at how far wide he is on that throw. Maybe rewind a little bit. Look at how far out he is from that throw. Now, if he puts it in an area where George Pickens can catch it, that's a pretty good opportunity for that being a first down. So what do the Steelers do on 4th and 2? Well, I think what you have here is a pretty good play for what the defense is showing and what they end up doing. I just think that you have Mitch Trubisky out here trying to make a big play down the field when it wasn't really needed in this situation. You're going to have Pat Freiermuth take his guy that's covering him and get in the way of the guy that's covering Allen Robinson, who's playing in the slot, who's going to go up and cut in front of Mr. Trubisky. I think that's where the play is designed to go. That's where the rub route is designed to be at. Now you have a single safety up at the top, and you have a lack of cushion at the bottom of your screen on Deontay Johnson, which is a pretty good indicator that you got man here. But as I mentioned before, if you're going to throw a ball up in the air and you're going to throw it to needing a contested type of catch, I'm not necessarily sure that Deontay Johnson is that guy. I think that you would prefer to probably throw that to George Pickens. He's the guy that can get up and snag the ball out of the air and has amazing body control to keep his feet in bounds most of the time. But instead, Mitch Trubisky just takes his chance. Mitch Trubisky throws it down the field. Allen is open right there in the middle of the field. It would have been a first down. I think that there's a good chance, or this should have been a pass interference, but you can't rely on penalties to win you games. But either way, I thought that the performance by Mitch Trubisky was just subpar, under the standard. And at the end of the day, I think I'd rather see Mason Rudolph out there than Mitch Trubisky. We know who he is. He's been in the league for quite a bit of time. He was a number 2 overall pick, where there were quarterbacks that were drafted behind him that had, better talent, thus also having a better NFL career to this part of their careers. It's the definition of a bust. And the frustrating part is that the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, Kevin Colbert, thought that this was a guy that could be the next guy who could replace Ben Roethlisberger. There was no guarantee that Kenny Pickett was going to be there in the draft. Obviously, that was the guy that the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to want to go with, given the fact that, when the Pittsburgh Steelers drafted at 20 overall, all quarterbacks were still on the board. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Please hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate all you guys, all our new subs. Thank you all for getting us over 3,000 subscribers. That's amazing. Thank you. Let's continue this. Let's keep getting this out to everybody. Please share this content. I'll be dropping a few more videos this week before the next game on Saturday, December 16th, against the Indianapolis Colts. Until next time, we'll see you later. Peace.